All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er mock draft 2.0. We're also brought to you today by Aura. We'll have more on that in a bit. And of course, Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. Get the brisket chili. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. All right, we're going mock draft 2.0. And I'm looking forward to this one. We're going to go Pro Football Network NFL mock draft. We'll go 7 rounds. We'll go fast. We'll make it quick. All right, here we go. Let's draft. First pick in the draft. Well, we're not going to make trades today. I promise you no trades. We'll reject all trades, no matter how enticing they are. We're just going to go with the 49ers picks. So Caleb Williams goes number 1, Drake May number 2, Marvin Harrison 3rd to the Patriots, Joe Alt 4th to the Cardinals, Fashanu from Penn State goes to Jim Harbaugh at number 5, Malik Neighbors to the New York Giants, Rome Odunze to the Titans at 7, Terrion Arnold to the Falcons at 8, Brock Bowers from Georgia, the Napa kid, goes to the Bears at number 9, Jaden Daniels falls all the way to 10 to the Jets, Jared Verse, a defensive end from Florida State, goes to 11 to Minnesota, Chop Robinson, defensive end, goes to from Penn State, goes to Denver, 13, the Raiders go Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson, Dallas Turner to the Alabama defensive end to the Saints at 14. Liatu Latu, the UCLA edge rusher, goes to the Colts at 15. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Seahawks at 16 as they bolster their offensive line. Quinyon Mitchell, 17 to Jacksonville. Jerzon Newton, the defensive tackle, goes 18 to the Bengals. Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Rams at number 19. J.C. Latham, who I think the 49ers will have a lot of interest in, goes 20 to the Steelers. Talieisi Fuaga, great right tackle from Oregon State, goes 21 to Miami. So they're both off the board. Cooper DeJean, the Iowa corner, or safety, I should say, goes 22 to the Eagles. Brian Thomas goes to the Texans. Wow, the Texans are going to have quite the wide receiver core if that happens. Keon Coleman to the Cowboys. Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle, goes to Green Bay. Bo Nix goes to the Falcons at 26. Adonai Mitchell, the big wide receiver from Texas, goes to the Cardinals. Graham Barton, the guard, goes to Buffalo. Troy Fatanu goes 29. The offensive tackle from Washington goes to the Lions. Ladd McConkey to the Ravens. And now the 49ers are on the board at pick 31. All right, let's go right down the list. The 49ers need a bunch, right? They need an offensive tackle. They need a defensive tackle. They need a defensive end. And they could probably use a number 1 corner. J.J. McCarthy is still on the board here. I don't actually believe that J.J. McCarthy will be there. Byron Murphy's on the board here, too, the Texas defensive tackle. Amarius Mims, the offensive tackle, is on the board. There's a lot of really good players there. But I'm going to go with Darius Robinson because I think Darius Robinson gives the 49ers an element they haven't had, a bigger defensive end who can play the edge, he can play inside. But I think, he's listed at 295. I think Darius Robinson, you make him drop 10 pounds, get him down to 280, make him incredibly fast. I'll take Darius Robinson out of Missouri with that first round pick. Interesting guy. He's from Southfield, Michigan. He went to Canton High School in Michigan. 6'5", 295 pounds. If you watch the film on Darius Robinson, he wears number 6. He was first team All-SEC in 2023. He was named the Senior Bowl Practice Player of the Week. 35-inch arms, 7-foot wingspan, very scheme versatile. He's got a crazy motor. He's got an amazing push-pull move, 10.5-inch hands, NFL-ready body, really strong at the point of attack. He's got a power-based game. And I'm going to say Darius Robinson, even though Mims, I like Mims, don't get me wrong, but he's only played 8 college games. I like Byron Murphy quite a bit as well, but I like this kid Darius Robinson quite a bit. So I'm going to go Darius Robinson with the first pick in round 1. All right, now we're up again at round 2. We're going to reject all the trades. Okay, now we're on round 2. And, this is tough. This is tough because you've gone defensive end. You still need an offensive tackle, and you still need a defensive tackle. Michael Hall from Ohio State, who had a terrific pass rush win rate for the Buckeyes, I think 27%. He's on the board, as is Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson, Patrick Paul, the big offensive tackle from Houston's on the board. But I'm going to go with Rook Ororo from Clemson as a defensive tackle. Why? I love this player. He's from Lagos, Nigeria. He came to the U.S. at the age of 9. He's 6'4", 295. If you watch the Clemson film, he wears number 33. He was an all-ACC performer, 97 career tackles, 25.5 career tackles for loss, 12 sacks over 53 games. There's just a lot to like here. He's all-academic ACC, 2-time ACC honor roll. Smart kid. Played high school football in Michigan. Didn't even play till his junior year of high school. Played just 2 years of high school football. Really was a basketball player as a young kid. He was recruited to Clemson by Brent Venables. He's got 3 cousins who all play or played in college football. The name is pronounced Rook Ororo. So Ororo. So Rook Ororo. And I know that's a crazy pronunciation, but that's how it's pronounced. Rook Ororo. And the guy has got a degree in sociology. He's already got his master's. He plays with a high motor. He did have a shoulder injury in 2023, but we're talking about explosive and quick. He plays low. He's got a high ceiling. This guy's a monster inside. I love Ororo. And so there you go. My second round pick is Rook Ororo. Okay, now the Niners pick. They're up on pick number 98. We got to look at the board here. There's the Yale offensive tackle. He's there. Trevin Wallace is an exceptional linebacker, exceptional athlete. Blake Fisher, an offensive tackle from Notre Dame, is there as well. So there's a number of guys that are there that are really interesting players for sure. You've got your defensive tackle and you've got your defensive end. So now you're really looking for an offensive tackle. That's the position you're trying to hone in on here. And the Yale kid's interesting for sure. But do you go with the kid from Yale, or do you go in a different direction? The kid from Yale is really, really intriguing. He's from Hillsdale, Illinois, outside of Chicago. He was a 2-star high school recruit. He's got great first step explosiveness, but and rare arm length, 36 3/4 arm length, quick feet, all Ivy League player. Didn't play football until the 8th grade. Missed the 2020 season because of COVID. That was his freshman year. He did tear a quad after 4 games this year, so he's not going to be ready to play in Indy. He calls himself the most interesting player in the draft. His father, Boris, grew up in Togo and played soccer in college in France. His mother's from Cameroon, and his parents met in 1994 at the University of Maryland. He's a political science major. He's got major work ethic, major drive. He's been working out with Willie Anderson, the former NFL offensive tackle. He's currently working out at Exos in Florida, and they're saying he's going to have his pro day sometime in April. Raw power, natural athlete, very, very aggressive. So he would be the first guy I would be looking for on the board, Karan Amagaji. But I got to look down the board and see who else is there, because there are some other, really, really, the 49ers have some other needs here as well, and they may need another pass rusher. And I do like some of the linemen after this point as much or more as the Yale kid. So right now I'm looking at who's on the board exactly and where they're at. Um, let me see as far as, I kind of like of the group that are there. Now I like Malik Washington quite a bit, and I could go Malik Washington here, but I also love this pass rusher from Utah. And the Utah pass rusher is a really good player. We're talking about Jonah Ellis. This is the, there's a lot of Ellises. There's Christian Ellis, who's with the Eagles this year. There's Luther Ellis, who's their dad, I believe. This is Jonah Ellis, who played for Utah, and he's a great pass rusher, and the motor just keeps revving. So I'm going to go Jonah Ellis here. I'm really intrigued by Jonah Ellis. Now, the Niners have a pick at 125, so I'm taking Jonah Ellis at 94. Oh, they have a pick at 98, I should say. So they picked 94 and then 98. So I think I'm going double pass rusher. So I've got Darius Robinson, I got Rook Aurora, I got Jonah Ellis. Now I'm at pick number 98, and I could be looking again at the Yale kid, Trevin Wallace, and very great athlete, linebacker from Kentucky. Blake Fisher from Notre Dame. I really like him quite a bit. But I like some of these other linemen further down the board, believe it or not. So the guy that to me is super intriguing is Malik Washington. Malik Washington is a small wide receiver from Virginia, but man, the production is off the charts. I mean, really incredible production. This guy just makes play after play after play after play. If you looked at his football card and his game log from this year, the guy went for 100 yards in almost every single game. I love Malik Washington. So I'm going to go wide receiver Malik Washington here at number 98. I pick again at 125. And I was thinking about going with Jerry Rice's kid there. But Malik Washington, the production is just off the charts. And sure enough, Jerry Rice's kid did wind up going here. So I went Malik Washington at 98, and Rice's kid went 117 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm a little bummed that I didn't get Rice's kid, because I really like Rice's kid. All right, but now I'm on the board at 125, and now this is right in the sweet spot of the offensive line. So let's check out who's available offensive line wise. And I feel like going multiple offensive linemen here. I'm going to go with Javon Foster from Missouri. I think I like all these guys. I like Javon Foster. I like Ladarius Henderson. I like Christian Jones. I like Garrett Greenfield. So I'm going to go Javon Foster right here at 132. And I'm going to reject that trade. Now I'm sitting here at 132, or I should say I went Javon Foster at 125. I'm here again at 132. And all these offensive linemen are still on the board. And let's see. I like this at this point in the draft. I think I want to take I think I want to go offensive line again. Now the question is, who do I want? I really want to get both Garrett Greenfield and Mason McCormick. McCormick's rated a little higher, so I'm going to go McCormick right here at guard. And then we'll see if Greenfield's still on the board when the 49ers pick again here let's see, the 49ers are on the board again at 176. Let's take a look who's on the board at tackle. Yeah, Garrett Greenfield. So now I'm going to go with both the right guard and the right tackle from South Dakota State. I love this kid, Garrett Greenfield. So now looking at my board, I've got Darius Robinson, Rook Aurora, Jonah Ellis, Malik Washington, Javon Foster, Garrett Greenfield, or Mason McCormick, and Garrett Greenfield. So now I've got both. I've got all my needs settled, right? I've got all my needs, but I've got a lot of my needs settled. Now I'm going kind of best available. the rest of the draft. And so they're in an interesting spot right now. The one spot I would like to see who's the best corner on the board. I really like Willie Drew. I like Dwight McClothern from Arkansas. But to me, the best corner on the board is this guy, Renardo Green from Florida State. So I'm going Renardo Green. I think Renardo Green is going to be a very good NFL corner. And now I'm still looking for, the best of all, who's the best player on the board. I picked back to back. So I took Renardo Green at 214. Excuse me. I'm picking also again at 215. So now I'm looking for best player on the board. And I could be convinced at a number of different positions. Darius Muasau from UCLA is a tremendous linebacker. Really love him. Willie Drew, the corner from Virginia State, good corner, but I just went corner. I don't know that I've got some other young corners. Muasau from the linebacker from UCLA is really strong. He's a little undersized. Who else? Nathaniel Watson is going to be hard for me to pass here. Why? He's the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. SEC Defensive Player of the Year. All right, by the way, we are a few minutes into our mock draft. Let's get a word right here from our sponsor. Have you ever typed your name on the internet and seen all of your private information is online? Are you tired of receiving tons of spam calls from random numbers? Are you receiving more and more of these as time has gone on? Well, that's where Aura, the sponsor of today's show, can really help you out. Data brokers sell your information to scammers and spammers and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, your email, your home address, all your records, your health records, who your relatives are. It's all out there. That's why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use the information to help them access my social media accounts, my bank accounts, or any other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. All right, welcome back to the Krug Show. And thanks for Aura for sponsoring our show. Now we're sitting here at pick 215, and I'm thinking of Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State. I like Evan Anderson, the huge defensive tackle from FAU. I love Marcus Harris, the defensive tackle from Auburn. But now I'm kind of looking for more specific things and more specific players. Go further down the board here. I'm looking for some speed. Late in the draft, Kalen DeLoach is a super fast linebacker. I love DeLoach. Really intrigued by him. I'm going to go to the offensive side and see who's left running back wise. And there's a back named Isaac Guerendo, who I think can replace Juice. He's a fullback. He's a halfback and a fullback. He actually runs in the 4-3s, but I think he's got good enough size where he could play fullback. So I really like Guerendo, and I think I'm going to take Guerendo here from Louisville as the replacement for Juice. Okay, so now where am I? Now I am at pick 237, and I have 249 after that. So I have two more picks. And I could go look who's the best available. See who's Isaiah Williams is not bad. Do I need a receiver? If I do need a receiver, I need a speed receiver. Do I go linebacker here? Muasau's there. I love Muasau. Nathaniel Watson's there. His production's undeniable. It's a tough call. DeLoach runs incredibly well from Florida State. He's a little on the undersized list. Cody Schrader is a terrific running back from Missouri. He's hard to pass up. But I think I'm going to go, this is tough. Do I go linebacker or do I go tight end? I do like this tight end. There's a tight end in this draft named, Mason Pline from Furman, who's a basketball player who's like 6'8". He looks really intriguing. So I like Mason Pline. I'm thinking about Mason Pline from Furman. And then wide receiver wise, there's Isaiah Williams. He's a good player. Anthony Gould from Oregon State. Burner. Ryan Flournoy from Southeast Missouri State, another guy who can run really well. You go further down the list, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint is a hard guy to pass up either. As well, I should say he's a really, really intriguing player. So do I go there? Jacksaint's a tremendous player. It's really tough. Let me check the quarterbacks wise. What quarterbacks are still on the board? Devin Leary. Some people like Devin Leary. Keaton Slovis. Okay, so I don't see that player. Running back wise, who's on the board? There's Jace McClellan, Kendall Milton, Cody Schrader, Dawan Edwards. Really like him. Jaden Sheridan from Monmouth is a Mel Kiper sleeper. There's Frank Gore Jr. See, I might be able to get Frank Gore Jr. after the draft. That's the thing. I'm sitting right now at 237, and I've got 249 as well. Very difficult decision. And then wide receiver wise, there's, Rosemy-Jacksaint. Really, I love him from Georgia. Tyler Harrell is a player that I really love as well. This guy runs incredibly well. In a lot of ways, this is the Danny Gray pick as well. I think I probably have to go linebacker here. And how do you pass on the SEC Defensive Player of the Year at pick 237? Nathaniel Watson. That's a hard guy to pass on. That would be very difficult to pass up. That's again. Let's see, defensive tackles. There's Evan Anderson. Judge Culpepper's not a bad player from Toledo. Really like him. It's tough. Edgewise, I'm a big fan of Muhammad Kamara, but he's off the board, right? He's gone. Jalen Harrell's a good player from Michigan, but I already got it. I already got a couple edge pieces. So it's really more, do I go linebacker? And I can go either Muasau, Watson, or Deloach. And I really love the way Deloach moves, but he's just so undersized. Watson is house. I mean, he's a bigger guy for sure. There's also some good corners here. Rashad Williams, Deontay Prince, Kamal Haddon, all pretty good corners. That's another one. Do you go corner here? I've already gone Renardo Green. Quantez Stiggers is a really good player. He played for the Toronto Argonauts in the Canadian League. I might go him here. Marcellus Dial from South Carolina is a good cornerback. I could go him here. Very difficult. This is a difficult one. I think I'm going linebacker. And even though I love Deloach, I think I'm going Nathaniel Watson. He's the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. You're picking in the 240s, 239 range. All right, so now I'm on the board with the last pick that I'm going to make here. And, Gabe Murphy from UCLA has fallen to this point. Evan Anderson's interesting. Lots of good players still on the board. There's Frank Gore's kid. Do you go with Frank Gore's kid? Frank Gore Jr. Do you go with Tyler Harrell? Do you go with Mason Pline? I'm kind of leaning in those directions. That's the thing. I mean, it's not an easy call here at the end of the draft. Deloach is really intriguing. Cody Schrader's really intriguing. Flournoy is intriguing. Do you want that speed? Tyler Harrell is my favorite speed guy in the draft. Now he's super fast. I don't think Deloach. I don't need to go. I don't know that the linebacker is going to make the team. So it really comes down to Mason Pline from Furman, Tyler Harrell from Miami through Louisville, Alabama, and other spots. He in a lot of ways is like Danny Gray. And then there's Frank Gore Jr. I think I could probably get Frank Gore Jr. after the draft. Let's see exactly how many running backs are left on the board there. Frank Gore Jr. is down the list here. So I do love Frank Gore Jr. But man, the basketball skills of this tight end Mason Pline are hard to look away from. You're talking about a 6'8" guy who's got major athleticism. So that's a tough one. I think I'm going to go there. I think I'm going to go Mason Pline, the tight end from Furman. He's a basketball player, and he's 6'8". He's a 6'8" tight end with just ridiculous athleticism and hops. So I'm going to say take Mason Pline. There you go. So there's my draft. I went Darius Robinson, edge rusher from Missouri, but he's a big edge rusher. I mean, this guy can play inside. He could play inside. He could play outside. I'd like to lean him out from 295 down to like 280, 285 and have him be a defensive end. He's got a huge frame, a great motor. Love him. Then Rook Aurora is just, there's a bunch of good defensive tackles there, but Aurora is just absolutely could be one of the best defensive tackles in this entire draft. Getting him at 63. In fact, I'm skeptical whether Robinson makes it to 31, and I'm skeptical whether Aurora makes it to 63. But in this mock, they do. So I've got Darius Robinson and Rook Aurora. So I'm going D-line, the first two picks. Then I'm going Jonah Ellis, the edge rusher from Utah. Now, a lot of people would go offensive line right there, but Jonah Ellis has a nasty spin move. The motor's crazy. He's a little on the smaller side, right? So I got a bigger defensive end, and then I got a smaller defensive end, but this guy can really rush the passer. Love Jonah Ellis. Malik Washington is just an amazingly productive wide receiver who's small, but I mean, he looks like Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill's speed, but he's not slow. And the production on Malik Washington, he transferred from Northwestern to Virginia and then just lit it up in the ACC this year on a bad Virginia team. But Malik Washington is just a tremendous receiver. So I added him. And then I went offensive line. And this is where I really love this draft. Javon Foster, I think, is a good enough guy to start right away at right tackle if they want to go that route. Then I took Mason McCormick and Garrett Greenfield, two South Dakota State teammates. And these guys have been fantastic on the right side of the South Dakota State offensive line. And I think the way I have this penciled out is Javon Foster starts this year at right tackle. He's your future left tackle when Trent decides to hang it up. And then the right side of your offensive line, I think in a year or two, is Garrett Greenfield and Mason McCormick. I mean, these guys are tough. They're blue collar guys. I mean, South Dakota State is a small school, but man, I mean, these guys are both tough as nails. Really like both those guys. 214, I get Renardo Green, who's a corner that I think should have gone way, way higher. I really love Renardo Green. Great athlete, a lot of confidence and swagger. Then I went Isaac Guerendo, the Louisville running back, but I'm playing him at fullback. To me, he's going to give the Niners a totally different look than Juice because he's 4'3". He's got a 4.3, 740 time, something like that. He's going to run in Indy. We'll see what it looks like. But Guerrero, to me, gives them a speed element at fullback. Then I'm going linebacker with Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State. Just way, way too good of a player to pass on at that point. I love Watson. He had 21 tackles in the Egg Bowl. I mean, I watched that Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving, and I was like, wow, look at this guy. I mean, every play, Nathaniel Watson made a play on almost every single play in that game. He's Mississippi State produces some amazing defensive players. I always check out who plays well in the Egg Bowl because the Egg Bowl is the biggest game of the year against Ole Miss. And sure enough, Nathaniel Watson dominated that game. And then I'm taking Mason Pline from Furman as an athletic tight end. 49. I don't know about Charlie Warner. He's a free agent. I don't know how much longer Kittle's going to go. I don't think Dwelly's coming back. Braden Willis may be a fullback. He may be a tight end. He may be nothing. And then Cam Latu, I have no confidence in Cam Latu, even though he was a relatively high pick last year. So to me, you got to find a tight end that gives you a red zone threat. And this kid, Pline, wait until you go watch this kid's ability to run the floor and dunk and play basketball. I mean, the fluidity that he has in a 6'8" frame is really good. And then I saw him make some really nice catches for Furman. If this guy played in the Big Ten, he's probably going in the 3rd round. But because he played for Furman, he's going to be there at 249. And then if there would be one guy, priority free agent, that I would try to get after the draft, it'd be Gore's kid. Sign Frank Gore's kid. Frank's in the front office. I think it's like 50-50 that Frank's kid gets drafted. He probably does in the 7th round, but it's no lock. If he doesn't get drafted, that's the guy that I'm trying to sign. And you add Frank Gore's son, Frank Gore Jr., who looks an awful lot like Frank, to this draft class. And to me, you've given your defensive line. First of all, you're going to have 6 defensive line free agents. So now you've rejuvenated your defensive line with 3 phenomenal movement players. A big defensive end who can play inside, a big defensive tackle who's got great pass rush ability, and then an unbelievable edge rusher, kind of an outside linebacker. He might be a little bit on the small side. We don't know exactly what scheme the Niners are going to play, but I love Jonah Ellis. I think he's just too productive. Then Malik Washington, a really good small wide receiver. And then you go O-line, O-line, O-line. Javon Foster, Mason McCormick, Garrett Greenfield. You go corner, you go fullback, you go linebacker, and you finish with the tight end, and you try to sign a running back like Frank Gore after the draft. To me, that's a really, really strong draft. It's obviously, there'll be people that will say, oh, no, you should have gone O-line way, way sooner. You didn't go O-line until the 125th pick. Yeah, because to me, the way this thing shakes out is that some of the best O-linemen like Fuaga and Latham are going to go mid-first round. And then the guys who are late first round are more developmental. I think Javon Foster, Ladarius Henderson, Christian Jones from Texas, those guys all going to be in that 100 to 150 range. And I think they're all as good as the tackles you're going to get at the end of the first round. McCormick is a personal favorite just because he's such a brawler, tough guy. Renardo Green, really, really confident corner. Guerrero gives you just a speed element you don't have. Nathaniel Watson gives you a very productive linebacker. And Pline is a tight end that could be a star, could be absolutely a star. So there you go. There's our mock draft 2.0. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Also, thanks to our sponsors this month, Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264, as well as valleyhillroofing.net, 209-481-6851. The links to all of the websites of our sponsors are listed in the description. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.